my diploma because I needed some more time in my field work, and I offered to do a training on communication. And so today we're going to talk about some communication skills. Now, if you look at this, this is all of communication, this big black line. Only 7% of communication is words. 93% is other things. And one of the things that makes communicating with people so hard is that we don't pay enough attention to the other 93%. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have 3 little skits, and in each one we're going to highlight one of the important parts of communication. After we do that, there will be a break between skit 1 and 2. After 2. And then we're going to do skit 3. And then I'm going to ask you each, including parents, to draw a picture, and I'll give you more details about that after. And then we're going to do an exercise using your artwork, okay? Now, it's not about getting judged for your artwork. It's about communicating. So, first, I would love to thank my assistant, Cindy, who is going to help me. Help me do the skits. Oh, right here. Got him. Okay. So, in scene 1, I'm a grocery store cashier. Okay, and Cindy will be my customer. I'm just going to read it because it's full.
Unfortunately, I can write it for this one.
Okay. Okay, so I'm, okay.
Okay.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Is it still raining out?
Yeah, it's raining a little bit.
Oh, well, I hope it stops soon. Well, thank you very much, and have a great day.
Well, thank you.
Okay. So that was A. Now we're going to do B. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Is this all you got?
Yes, that's
Okay,
what I
okay.
want.
Wow, you're wearing a Yankee sweatshirt. How can you like the Yankees?
I like the Yankees.
Okay, here you go. Bye.
Bye.
That was B. So, what was different?
Honestly, I have seen that a lot at work.
Yeah.
I work at Walmart.
Yeah.
So honestly, I have seen cashiers that do
Yes.
that due to the fact that they
Okay.
feel like they don't want to be bothered or they didn't want to come to work that day.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yes, please do
Want
the
me to
writing.
write it down?
Okay, so you've seen people do that. How do the customers feel when they do that?
A couple of them have complained.
Okay.
They said that it wasn't very appropriate for them to act that way if that was their job.
Right.
And if they depended on their check, if they wouldn't be getting much for the check if they had anything to do with it.
Now, did you notice that in the 2 scenes I chose a different thing to talk about? In the first one I talked about the weather, okay? Very general. Most people will not get argumentative with you about the weather. They may say something like, oh, well in Enosburg it's snowing like crazy, or, you know,
Yeah.
but you're not getting into a conflict. But you have to be very, very careful, okay? Because the words can be used, you can even use the same exact words, and they can be taken wrong by somebody. Because what you're doing is being received by somebody who might be receiving it completely differently than you mean it, okay?
I could add some to that one.
Go ahead.
We had a gentleman who's very into Boston Red Sox.
Hey!
And fortunately for me, I've been a Yankees fan since I was little, because I've always been retaliating for my stepfather. Well, this guy looks right at somebody, and the cashier goes, "Oh, I see they've been doing pretty good." He goes, "Yeah, and if anybody in here is a Yankees fan, they need to leave the store." He pissed off 3 customers, myself, but the thing was, I did a positive thing, and I looked at him, I go, "Sir, that was rude, and I am a Yankees fan, and I'm not going home when I work here."
Right.
And he kind of looked at that, and he walked out the door. But, I mean, the way he said it, oh, what the heck?
So the good thing that you're talking about is even people around. It's not even just the person you're communicating with, okay? I was telling Cindy earlier, I mean, I've worked with the public since I was in high school. We won't discuss how many years that is. And I got myself in trouble the other day. This very nice woman was in Goodwill, and it was when the weather had gotten really, really warm. You know, those few days that it was like we skipped from March to May. And I said something about, "Boy, the weather's been really funky." And she goes, "Yeah, it has been." And I said, "Oh, global warming." And she got so angry with me. "There's no such thing as global warming." And she went on, and I went, whoops. So we all cross the line sometimes, okay? But it really is important to not only listen to how we speak or what words we use, but start noticing when people speak to you. And what you have to do is you have to start thinking about, how do I really want to be treated? And, you know, if the way I want to be treated is the way I'm going to treat somebody else. Okay, so that's part of this little tiny bit, the choice of words. So as you can see, as far as communication goes, it's really not considered even that big a deal, but it can cause huge problems, okay?
Well, it wasn't just your words, it was your tone.
So, that's the next thing.
With me, it was body language.
Yes.
Because I am very, very attuned about
That's part 3. Okay, that's part 3. Okay, so now we're going to do...
So would you say, as far as using words, like if you talk about the weather,
There's certain things you
people
can...
won't be offended,
Yeah.
it's kind of neutral?
The other thing I've discovered is nobody gets offended if you compliment them. I saw a sweet little senior citizen the other day, and she had on fluorescent orange shoelaces, and I just thought they were amazing. And we were just, you know, crossing each other as I went into the post office, and I said, "Love the laces," and she got the nicest smile on her face. Now that doesn't mean you have to compliment every person you meet, but again, it's people like to hear that they look nice, or they, you know, those words when you compliment hardly ever can be misunderstood, because you're looking at a person and you're appreciating them for their choice, or, you know, so. But that kind of leads into tone of voice, okay? And tone of voice is part of this. And Cindy and I, she's getting nominated for an Academy Award after this. We're going to talk.
Supporting actors.
Yes. No. Okay, so now we're going to talk about tone of voice. And tone of voice, as you mentioned, is incredibly important. And in this scene, Cindy and I are just neighbors, and we just happen to be crossing each other as we're walking down the street. Okay. How are you, Cindy?
Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know, we live 3 houses apart.
Right.
I love your jacket.
Well, thank you so much. It's new.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I have to be going, but listen, let's get together for coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's A.
Uh-oh.
You already know what's coming. Okay. Okay, we're still on the same street. It's a different morning.
Thanks.
Okay? Now, I'm being very obvious, okay? But think about it. You're in a bad mood. You don't mean to sound angry, and you do. You're aggravated with somebody at work, and it comes out in the tone of your voice. These are all things that mean more than the words you said. So if you're talking to somebody, does anybody have any good examples of tone of voice?
When we first started doing our checking receipts, I had to tell this gentleman that, and he'll check out that, sir, can you please keep out your receipt, because they're gonna wanna check it at the door. I just figured I'd give you fair warning. He looked right at me and oh my God, all of a sudden his voice went finally from God knows where to, yeah, you're just calling us all thieves. I'm like, sir, I'm not calling you a thief. I'm saying that you need to keep your receipt out because we're making sure that everything got scanned. See, you're calling us thief. I'm like, I didn't even realize that I was rolling.
So he was letting you know how he just went to there and there was nothing you could say that was going to turn him around.
His wife even told him to shut up and nothing.
Has anybody else ever gotten into a little jam because their voice didn't match their words?
You mean sarcasm?
That would definitely be you.
All right, sarcasm is so.
That'd be me every time I open my mouth, though.
Okay, so when you do sarcasm, are you always angry?
No.
No.
But come across as
That way.
Come across as angry, or come across as just being
Obnoxious.
obnoxious, rude, disrespectful, even though I'm not trying to be rude.
Trying to be, right. But the person who's receiving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If you know him long enough, you know he's joking around.
Yeah, right. And that's just what I was going to say. Sometimes when we joke, we know we're joking.
But other people might not.
Not. Exactly. So if you're working with someone who doesn't know you well, that can be very, very, it's a big pit that you can fall into. Because once they get the wrong idea, okay?
Yeah.
It goes downhill real quick.
You can apologize, you can say all the right words after, but that first impression is very, very hard to erase. And see, that's the thing. If you're with people who really know you,
That's not an issue.
it's not an issue because they know that you're kidding.
Yeah.
Okay?
I found that out when I was working at McDonald's, when I lived in Milton. I would have to moderate my tone, because I have issues with that because of my autism.
Mm-hmm.
I would make sure I sounded in a good mood, even if I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I would try and, if a customer came in through upset, I would do everything I could to make their experience more pleasant, even if it wasn't my mistake. So I had to watch the tone of my voice because I was working with people on a regular basis and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets home, it all goes out the window.
Right. So again, one of the things you gotta start,
Sound familiar?
one of the things that you need to start really paying attention to is how people talk to you. This is really hard things to really get a grasp on, because one of the other things that we're not talking about is how much sensory stuff is happening when you talk to somebody else. You're watching their face, you're listening, you know, you're digesting the words, for lack of a better way to say it. And so all those pieces, if one gets out of line, the other person is putting meaning into what you're saying that you don't intend, okay? I have been in trouble a few times when I think I'm funny, and I have had to learn that when I'm working on the floor, when I'm working with customers, that I can't joke unless the customer jokes with me first. And sometimes they do. Sometimes there's customers that see me a lot, and even then I try to be really careful. But again, like I just said, the lady with the global warming, you know, I walked right into that.
And it's kinda hard not to walk into that,
It
especially when
is.
you're trying to joke, but yet you don't know what to say, you know, if that's
Exactly.
gonna turn to World War III, or you're gonna
Right.
be able to walk out of it.
I've got a quick question. These things are, like, these are bad, and this is good for customer service. What about family relationships?
It depends on
The family member and
the
what
family
you're
member
trying,
and how well they can handle
or
it.
how well you, or how often you see them.
Mm.
Like with some of, like with my family name, I'm called Jamie by my family. I haven't gone by that for years. But with my family down in like Randolph, when I go down for the 4th of July,
Yep.
I let them call me Jamie even though I haven't gone by it for many years, because they only see me once a year. I make exceptions to certain things.
Okay. So
When
that's
they
merging.
call you Jamie, do you feel any affection with that?
For them, yes, because they don't see me very often. Like with my father, I point blank after I turned 18 said, I'm no longer Jamie, I'm James.
Mm-hmm.
He took it offensively, but I told him, it's just not my name anymore.
Mhm.
And I told him I make exceptions based on if I see the family regularly or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't go up and say, oh, my little Jamie.
Well, I'm gonna be 60 in June and my family still calls me Pammy.
I have aunts that call me Susie. So.
Yes, sometimes it's just, and you don't have to change how you feel, but I'm just saying, when I hear Pammy, it makes me feel, and that's why I'm saying it's okay for my family to say it. You don't feel comfortable with it. With me, it's usually a sign of affection. And so, even something like using your nickname can get you into trouble. Because a person has the right to be called what they want to be called. And I never thought I'd be almost 60 and be still Pammy, but to that group of people,
Well,
I'm Pammy.
I'm going to be 52.
Good.
Yeah,
It's the same
yeah,
thing.
it's the same
you know.
thing. And I call my sister Susie instead of Susan, and you know, so, but you're right, you have to check it out. You have to make sure it's okay with the other person. So if somebody were to call me Pammy at work, they would probably get a funny look. Not, you know, because I don't expect that at work. At work, I'm Pam, okay? So it is interesting that even something that simple, it can be communicating either, you could think that they could think calling you Jamie is affectionate, but you're not taking it that way, and you need to let them know that.
Which is what I've done before.
Right, and how you feel is what is the deciding factor.
Usually at home though, at least that with me, I'm a lot worse at home than
Okay, so let me
out
ask,
in the public, because I've learned out in the public,
okay,
I have to tone it.
do you exercise at home?
Yeah,
Okay, so when you exercise, does it make it easier for you to do things?
yeah.
So if you exercise better communication skills at home, would it make it easier when you were in public?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not so much
No,
that,
it's
it's
just
becoming
it's because-
aware. It's becoming aware. No, everybody has a bad day, okay? Let's face it, you know, there are times, I adore my son, but there are times if I hear about the Ninja Turtles one more time, I'm gonna lose it. And I will say to him, I need a half an hour, okay? I get 10 minutes, but I ask for a half an hour. On a good day, it doesn't bother me,
Yeah.
okay? So I'm not saying we're all,
Because it's just, at home I know they can handle,
but I'm gonna go back to my question. If you're aware of it out in public, okay, is it harder to do if when you're home, you're not paying attention?
easier, you're not paying, when you're not paying attention.
It's easier what?
That, basically be yourself,
Okay,
and not have to put, well, I think it's more like be yourself and have to put it in front, because
Is there
when you're
a,
in public, you decide,
Is
it's
there a-
either I have to be totally cut off, not being sarcastic, and just be nicey, or you just, you know, not let my disability take, you know.
okay. But if you practice some of the time at home, I'm not saying every minute, none of us can be every minute, but if you practice even just a little bit at home, would it make it easier for you when you're out in public?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus it could depend on the person too.
Right?
Now, what about tone of voice, using different tones of voice at home, like some tones of voice are good for customer service, how about at home? And can there be misunderstandings about tones of voice?
Mm-hmm.
See, with me, that's hard for me because my son's bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get home and I'll say, oh, how was school? It's like, okay, I'm not even gonna go there, I'm gonna go to my room and I'm shutting my door.
Right, but you're listening to his tone. You're listening to what he's telling you.
Yeah, but it's so hard because sometimes I want to like have a nice little conversation with him, and I won't because he's like in such a bad mood, I can't even talk.
So you're listening to his mood by his tone of voice?
Yeah.
And if you're uncomfortable with his tone of voice, then you set a boundary, you say, not now, I can't listen right now, and you take a timeout. And then do you come back later when he's calm and talk about his day?
I tried.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, I tried to ask him about school, and then sometimes his sister's living with us again, so sometimes that makes his reaction even worse, because he's like, it's supposed to be me and you. It's like, I knew that, but what was I supposed to do, let her be homeless? He's like, I was like,
Yeah, it's the same way with his brother.
Yeah.
The second one down is bipolar and ODD.
Yep.
And the rest of the siblings. I mean, his comments will be, well, that's Dan, you know.
Yeah.
And everybody gives him his space, and eventually he'll come around.
And now obviously I have to do the same thing. There's sometimes when Ben is just stage 4, stage 5 is meltdown. And, you know, we do react accordingly. But I'm just saying, because you're a bright guy, and if you use sarcasm and it's not being taken right, people are going to miss what you've learned and what you have to offer. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to be you at home. I'm just saying once in a while, if you're in a good mood, try it. Just try it with people at home.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I think he does. I mean, even
Yeah.
when he's over at the house, there's
Yeah.
times where you can see him humming and mumbling and stuff, where I think it's his gears trying to come to a stop.
Right, right, no, I completely get it. But I also think that, like when I grew up, if I used the wrong tone of voice, I heard about it right away. My mother had an eyebrow that could go up, and so
Grandma.
she could nail you from across the room. So I was
My
very
mother
conscious.
too.
Yeah, I was very, very conscious of tone of voice when I was growing up.
You can't.
Now, what if the person has trouble telling when somebody else is using an angry tone of voice? Or?
For some people, differentiating between tones is very hard. If you have trouble with that, then you're really going to want to pay attention to body language.
Okay.
Okay? And that's what I'm talking about. It is such a sensory thing. We do so many things when we communicate that if you have something that's harder for you to do that falls into this category, try to see if you can become more aware of another thing that might tip you off. Okay? And because Ben has autism, you know, it has been a struggle to do it all. And like I said earlier, if he's really stressed out, his head goes down. Usually he's friendly, his eyes are up, he's looking at people. the minute he starts getting stressed, his eyes go down because he just can't take it all in. He's tired or he's overwhelmed, you know, and it's funny because he loves to introduce me to everybody he knows, and he'll even introduce me with his head down if he's overwhelmed. So the words are right, okay, but he's giving a very mixed message because he's putting his head down. And he's sounding happy, his language is good, and his tone is good, but his head is down. He's not making eye contact. So, I'm not asking you to like purposely do it. I'm just asking you to try to see if you can become more aware, okay? And there is nothing wrong with being who you are at home because that's exactly where you should be yourself. And trust me, if you lived with Ben, you'd know. But there's also, home is also a good place to do a little practicing because the people that you live with are the people that will understand you the most and can give you good feedback, okay? And
So you're saying listen to the tone of voice, and if the other person's sounds really upset, give them space,
yes.
set a friendly boundary, say, well, I can't talk right now,
Right.
and then maybe remove yourself.
I
And
would
then come back and try talking.
yeah,
another time.
I would wait until a better time, you know, like,
I
That's
gotta
Daniel.
learn the body language stuff for myself,
okay,
due to the fact of, I have customers that are, they don't trust other cashiers. They are not gonna come to me and they'll look at me and go, what's up today? And it's like, what are you talking about? And they go, your body language.
So you're also, it sounds like you're saying, not only do you need to be listening to people, but you need to be listening to yourself. And seeing, well, is my tone of voice getting a little angry? Am I
It's
gonna
not
blow
even,
up?
it's not even my tone,
Or
it's
my
just my
body
body
language is,
language.
watch your own body, listen
Yeah.
and watch yourself.
Yeah.
And then take a break if you need to,
Yep.
and then come back when you're in a
That's
better
the
mood.
thing where I am, I can't take a break.
What do you do?
professionals out there who, like that work for the FBI, places like that, and they have it down to a point that if your eyebrow moves up a certain place, they tell you you're lying. None of us are ever gonna be able to do that kind of body language reading. Besides the fact, I don't believe that every person reacts exactly
Or
the
there's a
same way.
little drop of sweat coming up your
Right. However, there are some pretty well-known ones, and we'll talk about that when we do the next skit. But right now, we're gonna take a little break. There's some snacks.
I'll get the snack.
Okay. Again, it's just becoming aware. As I trained to be a mediator, one of the things I had to learn to do was to be impartial, okay? Because mediators don't make the decision, okay? And we're not supposed to even let someone know if we think they're right. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go, yeah, I agree with you. You know, and I had to learn how to really control my voice, my body language, because, you know what I mean? So it became very interesting to me, you know? I took the courses, and then I'm doing these role plays, and I'm realizing just how hard it is to not only be reading their body language and their tone of voice, but to be controlling mine. So for a long time, what I started doing was just watching other people, like in the, you know, grocery stores, or if I saw a mother with a little kid, and the little kid was, you know, how to get tired around 5 o'clock, and, you know, you gotta stop and get groceries, and the kid is tense, and the mother is tense, and I just started watching people in a very, you know, not gawking, but I started watching. And I started realizing how many times you make a decision about that person, and you don't know what's going on, you know? So it's just something to become aware of. And for some of us, it is harder than others. And like I said, because Ben has taught me so much, I never understood how complicated it is. We have 5 separate areas in our brain for speech, okay? There are some people including Ben in the beginning, who could only say a word if he was totally freaked out or scared. I heard the word mama when he was 5 years old and we were in an emergency room. Didn't hear it again for 3 years, okay? Couldn't understand it, you know? In those days, he was totally withdrawn, you know? So, I did a lot of reading, and there's all kinds of neurological stuff, and we're all wired a little differently, and you just have to know who you are and become aware of how you put things out in the world, and you can't control all of it. There's none of us is ever gonna be perfect. When I do the work stuff, it's easy, because I'm sitting at a table, it's my job, and for a couple hours, I can stay conscious of it. But if I had to be that way all day, I'd never make it, you know.
It's a funny thing, because when my son had one of his ADHD appointments with Dr. Lara, and I go, Doc, I'm gonna have him leave it alone for a minute, I wanna talk to you, and I told him, I go, I wanna point something out there, and there was a trigger word back then for his bipolar to snap, the anger. No. So I looked at him and I go, watch this, I go, Brian, you can come back in, and I said the word, and he looked, he went, being a professional, he was still looking, he's like, what the heck just happened? I looked, I go, I figured I'd let you see it.
And I bet you learned how to say whatever that word was. I bet you learned 100 different words that went around that word, but were not that word, right? And you might get customers that are like that. There are some customers, like you said, you didn't say anything wrong to the gentleman when you said, they may ask, God knows, you go to Costco, you have to show them your receipt every single time.
And that's another thing we give them in our face. You're not a card store, we shouldn't have to show our receipts.
Well, no, that's not true either, because...
No, because it's called inventory.
Yes.
Control.
And everybody...
Inventory control, they have the rights to do that.
And everybody pays if too many people are walking out with a brand new TV.
And there's
Prices
been
go
people.
up, right,
People been walking right out of Walmart since day one.
of course. And so...
42-inch shutters.
Right, and so he was defensive, you stayed calm, and, you did the best you could, and, if you had shouted back at him, that could have gotten really bad.
Yeah, because it would have got fired right there.
Well, not just that, but that would have ignited him.
Yeah.
Okay, so, let's take 10 minutes, and,
No, that wouldn't be mine.
we need, hold on. The case.
He's hanging his head in shame.
Hi, Cindy. Why don't you sit with me? You guys see us? Okay. I don't want to make you okay, so I'm so glad you came to chat with me.
Well, thank you.
I've been sitting here trying to think of what movie could I rent tonight on Netflix. Do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, I really like Star Wars, especially the first one.
Really?
Yeah. First one's probably my favorite. I like that.
Has it got a good story?
Well, what I like is the special effects, and I love some of the characters, like Chewbacca and Princess Leia, and it's pretty exciting. It's a great movie. I highly recommend that.
Well, thanks. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
I think I'll rent it tonight.
Great.
Okay. That was A. Let's pretend Cindy's walking over.
I'm walking over.
Okay.
She's inviting me to sit.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
You want to sit with me?
Yeah, I'd like that.
I've been sitting here and thinking about, well, I want to rent a movie tonight, and, I have Netflix, and so I was wondering if you had a suggestion.
I really like Star Wars, the Star Wars series, and I would really recommend the first one.
Oh my God, I watched number 6, and I couldn't figure out what was going on.
Well, I think you'd like the first one.
I don't know. I just remember there was this big hairy guy, and...
Chewbacca, he's one of my favorite characters. I love Chewbacca.
Oh. Okay. So I don't know, you know, like I like movies, like different kind of movies, and I don't know.
Well, this one has really wonderful special effects.
Oh, if you want to talk about special effects, Star Trek is much better than Star Wars.
I like the special effects in Star Wars myself.
Okay. All right.
Those are fighting words.
Okay. So in that one, I kind of did it all. Okay. What was good about the first one?
Well, it's just a great action movie.
No, honey. I'm saying to them, what was good about the first
Well,
one?
communication was better because the body language was way better.
Right. And what was I doing?
You were showing her that you were paying attention.
Right.
In the first one.
Right.
But I like how you did that with
Well,
the second part that you
yeah.
were in her hair.
Yeah. You know, if they're, you know, it's funny because those are the things we don't even realize we're doing.
That second one's a normal conversation with me.
Yeah.
Well, you
But
sit there with
again,
us, you don't
No,
have
but
there.
okay,
So when you
you
talk
know what?
about body
You're talking
language,
you?
when you talk about body language, some of the really easy ones,
Should we write this down
Oh.
for people taking
we
notes?
could,
Okay.
keep me hanging up my arms,
Yeah,
don't
okay,
kill me, thank
sure,
you.
yeah.
Body language is hard because again, if you know the person, you might accept certain maneuvers as meaning something different. But let's talk about like you don't know the person, okay? So you noticed that I was paying attention to Cindy. I was actually looking in her face because she didn't seem to mind me making eye contact.
Yeah, that's what a lot of customers do, like, when
Yeah.
you're going like this and they're like,
So what I do with customers that don't want to make eye contact is I kind of look lower, like at their chin or something, so that I'm not, because some people really get uncomfortable with eye to eye. But I was looking at her, I was obviously paying attention. Instead of interrupting her, I tried to just like do the shake my head or go, okay, you know what I mean, like very short.
she really like I said.
Well, that's what I do. I found that if you look at someone like around their chin, it looks like you're looking at them, but you're not invading on them. And again, that might be because of Ben. I've learned that when Ben is really stressed out, if I try to force eye contact, it's not a good thing. But I've also noticed people at the store that are the same way. Some of it might be cultural, some of it might just be their own comfort zone.
A lot of it's that, just the comfort zone. A lot of people don't like getting
Right.
stared at eye to eye because it's
But you can do
intimidation.
You can do a lot by, like with Cindy, I was kind of bending towards her a little bit. It's, you know, we're having a discussion, I'm listening. If you were in the store and the cashier was like this at the counter, what would you think?
Bored.
Impatient.
Right.
They wanna get out of work.
Do they look like, you know, you could go up and ask them a question?
Don't bother me, I'm trying to get out,
Right.
I'm trying to hide so I can get out of here early.
Right.
Typical Hannaford's a price chopper on a slow day.
I worked for Price Chopper. No, I
So
worked
did
in,
I, so I know.
I worked in South Burlington though.
I worked in Maryland.
Yeah. But what if
Same here.
I'm just cold? What if I'm cold? What if I'm near the door and I'm doing this
So
because I...
check out.
Yeah. Exactly. So, again, it might be that I'm completely closed down and I don't want anybody to talk to me. You know, I'm like, I'm here, you know.
Well, you could tell some about the face.
Right,
You
right.
know, because if they're cold, they might still have a smile on their face like,
Right.
yeah, I'm willing to accept you,
Yeah.
I'm just, you know,
Yeah,
freezing my
right,
buns up.
exactly. So see, that's the other
Right,
thing.
Mom.
You can't just, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to make you cold. You don't want to take just one facet, okay? If you read some of the books, they'll tell you that this is definitely a closed-off stance. You know, anything with your arms crossed right in front of you. When I was a lot heavier, I used to do this a lot for other reasons. So
Support.
check another, check another thing, like you said, that's perfect, look at the face, you know, say hi, or excuse me, and see what comes back at you.
Did they rip your head off? You know,
Then you know, it's time to go
Time to
find
move
this,
on.
well, actually, it's time to go find a supervisor. Because I gotta tell you, I have worked register off and on through my life, and I try my best to be pleasant to everybody I wait on. So when someone is really rude to me, I don't like it. So when I was letting Cindy know I was really listening to her, how do you think she felt in scene 2?
Uncomfortable.
And like you said.
And that you didn't like Star Wars in the first place.
But before he said that, this kind of makes you feel like, no.
Disrespected.
Yeah, exactly, I'm not paying
The
attention.
true Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
that was fighting words.
I never thought about it. I never thought about Star Trek. Is that really a clash? Star
Yes.
Wars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
See,
I like them both.
I like them both,
Honestly, I
but,
like to see them have a fight.
I like them both, but to a true Star Wars fan, don't mention Trekkies.
Oh, okay.
They
Yeah,
will
but
go out.
That might be a good movie. Star Wars
would.
versus Star Trek.
That is like this is Superman versus Batman today, yeah.
Yeah, but they got the most rotten actor to play him.
No, I'm just saying, you're right, they could do a
Yeah.
Trekkie and a, okay, so, again, all of this has to be considered when you're trying to communicate with somebody. So even if you make one little mistake, if you're, even if you say the wrong word, but you have a nice tone of voice and you're paying attention to your customer, it might be enough.
Well, my favorite part was where she had talked about Chewbacca in the first one, and all of a sudden you go, yeah, there's nothing
Yeah, well, I had to really be obnoxious in the second one, so, yeah, she gave me a great opening. So, this really isn't about anybody leaving here perfect. This is about how hard it is and what you have to think about. And the easiest way to learn about this is to watch other people. It really is. But it's also like to pay a little attention to yourselves. So, we are gonna do an exercise.
Would you, I guess that's not, would you say part of body language, am I interrupting?
No, go ahead. You're such a good scribe. Go ahead. Yeah.
You were also, one thing that I noticed was you were nodding.
Yes, nonverbal, again, see, I was giving Cindy the cue non-verbally that I tried to. One time I said, okay, but that's still okay, because I wasn't interrupting. I was encouraging her to keep going.
And in the second one, you were like,
Yeah, and I didn't hear if I interrupted. Interrupting is one of the hardest things to stop doing. Sometimes we're so busy when we're listening to somebody thinking about what we want to say back that we don't listen well. We're thinking more about what we want than what they want to tell us. So, when Cindy stopped, I could ask her a question to encourage her, get clarification, but till that time, I was just going to let her know I was really listening to her. Yes.
Sorry, but my daughter has a bad habit of, she'll start rambling and she likes causing trouble. So I'll interrupt her on purpose.
Right.
She's like, you're interrupting me. I said, yeah, there's a good reason why.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. One of the things we do in mediation, which is, it sounds so simple, but it is so important, is the first time we get everybody to talk, we say, I want to hear each of yours point of view, and I've given you a pad of paper. If you think of something, jot it down, but let Mary say what she needs to say first. And it's amazing. When you're not trying to think, if you're not thinking about what you want to say back, if you're really listening, technically it's called active listening. If you are actually listening to the person, you hear so much more. Because your brain is not busy trying to figure out what you're going to say back, And so I was doing active listening in the first one. I was paying complete attention to Cindy. I might have thought of a couple of questions, but I didn't interrupt her. And she brought up some facts that I might not have thought about. It's very hard. All of this is very hard. But that's the point. Communication isn't, we all think we learn the words and we learn how to count and we learn what color is what color, we know how to communicate it. It's not really quite that simple.
So I wonder, in active listening, are you, when you do talk, but when you do talk, I know a lot of this has to do with being respectful and listening for a good time to talk. It sounds like when you do talk, the reason that you talk is to get more information from the other person.
Or the other thing you can do is say, because sometimes, you get a little confused, you go, did I get it? Did you mean this?
Certain phrase that way.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I got it all, and you repeat it back. And that gives the person the opportunity to say, oh, no, that's not how I meant that. You know what I mean? So again, but you're still not thinking about what you're going to say back. Because if you reacted to what you thought the person said, you might go down a whole different road than if you asked for that clarification, okay? So, I want you guys to practice this stuff, and the way the book suggests we do it is everybody is going to draw a picture. Now, this is not about your art ability, okay? You're going to draw a picture, even the parents, and you're going to draw a picture of something that either makes you happy or is something that's your favorite. You are not to talk about what you're drawing or why you're drawing it, okay? Then I'm going to match you up, two people together, and you're not going to be with your mother. You are going to...
we related to people here.
Well, you just steer me in the right direction. And what you're going to do... Yeah, he's not going with you either. Because you guys know each other too well. The question is going to be for somebody to talk to Darren or to anybody else and find out what the picture's about and why.
Now, I'm wondering if you want some privacy, if you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you can
choose
spread out if you
another
want, but
place
we
in the
only
room.
have a certain amount of markers. That's
We've
the
only
only
got a
problem.
certain amount of markers, but
We can throw these into the mix too. So the idea is, it's not about your artwork. It's about, that's good.
Yeah, not good with your artwork.
Somebody asking you asking somebody questions to find out what they drew, why they drew it, listening to their words and their body language and their tone of voice, and keeping a little conversation going. Okay? Don't look so scared. It's not going to hurt.
It's not like whoever you're getting partnered up with is gonna bite you.
Yeah, there's no biting. There's no grading. Okay, the first time around, I want each of you to say one thing that the other person did really well. Yeah. So, you guys want to start?
I'm gonna definitely was listening to what I had to say, and she really noticed what I drew.
Okay. And
She was listening and very interesting communication.
okay. Sarah,
Yes.
you can talk to me. I won't bite it.
Go ahead and say it.
Pretend you're at Walmart.
Don't look at me, I'm not here to bail you out this way.
No, what was good? What did he do that was really good?
To listen.
He listened. You felt listened to. Okay. Darren,
Same thing.
same thing. Oh, you guys are cheating.
Body language is fine.
Huh?
The sponging.
Yeah, really, exactly.
Body
Okay.
language is fine.
Listening is actually an excellent answer. So don't. If that's how you feel, say what you feel.
Interesting.
Interesting. Okay. You're in trouble. I know you're in trouble.
Well, I know, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell.
You got him right on.
Yeah.
What I was feeling from her is she was trying to play up to me, trying to make me like her better than she thought I did.
Okay.
By the way she was answering questions.
Okay, so you're assuming her approval was to make you feel,
She was trying to make me like her.
Trying to get your approval.
Exactly.
And if you ever know Sarah, it's just the way she is.
okay. I just wanted to make sure I got it. And what did Darren do well?
He made good eye contact.
Excellent.
You like the picture?
And James?
She engaged in my interests. She was very interested. Planned.
Being in the same room, I have to say, I heard kind of overheard part of the conversation between them, and he takes a lot after her. Yeah.
Except they're not related.
No, I'm just saying because I know he said he was being very cautious about what he was drawing, and then all of a sudden he said something about being.
Detail oriented.
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
Well, I was trying to be detail oriented with what I did.
But yeah, just the way you said that and the way he was trying to make his picture, I was like, oh no.
Okay, now I want you to think about yourselves. I want you to think about what was the hardest thing to do when you were doing this.
Well, with me, with my drawing, it was kind of hard because.
No, not your drawing.
Oh, okay.
The discussion, when you were talking about, what was the hardest thing that you were trying, like, was there a skill you were working on? Is there something?
Not really, because honestly, I liked how her picture was drawn, so I really understood that she liked it outdoors.
Okay. So you just felt, you really got a lot out of her picture?
Yeah.
Even without the conversation? Okay. How about you?
Let's see.
Not what was, did you work on something? Was there something that you tried to do
Were you working
that
on,
we've been talking about?
were you working on having a smile or really listening?
Keeping up, talking.
So you guys really just had a nice general conversation and you were very relaxed. That's great.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good thing. Because you both said that you felt listened to. So obviously it worked. So you did a good job. Okay. Sarah, what was the hardest part for you? Kind of shy? It's okay.
Why don't you get nervous?
I know, no, I don't want to put her on the spot, but I mean, I'm just wondering if there was one thing that people really kind of thought about from the training that they worked on. How about you, Darren?
Just talking, or just being able, not, like, just trying to come across as, being, a little more like listen to, instead of, yeah, talk,
You talked?
talking about it,
Okay. Did you feel comfortable?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hard
Things you just felt very easy.
Right.
Okay. Ron?
Is that a blush I
Remember
see,
over
Ron?
there, remember, this is my wife you're talking about.
I really didn't practice on much outside of paying attention to what she was saying
Okay.
and trying to draw her out,
Okay.
trying to get more information out of her.
Okay.
Good luck, she's been dealing with it since
No.
1999, so.
But he was being conscious of that. You knew she was shy and you were trying to get her to talk.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which isn't hard for him to be able to do.
Well, no, but see, I'll
Put this
explain
way, she'll even want to say hi to her own mother sometimes, so it's, that's how bad it is.
Well, we all have our own niche.
I listened, but I also, offered him some ideas of what he could ask about. Like, he got the reference that it was Star Trek,
Yeah.
and so I said, well, what do you think I meant by the colors?
Okay,
You
so
know,
you
why
said,
did I use, red?
right, so to draw him out, you kind of introduced a question that would keep the conversation going. Okay. And James?
I worked on the eye communication, making sure it was okay with her whether, and if she was okay with it, I kept it up.
You paid attention to, because that's one thing too, you know, you have to make sure that your listener still wants to hear more.
Right.
And that's what you did. See, actually, you guys did really, really well, because most of you just talked about all the really good stuff. You listened, you know, when you were talking about what did the other person do, it was all very respectful. It was open, people felt comfortable, I think pretty much you all felt comfortable. I'm assuming that Sarah did, because she smiled in the beginning of my question. But it's the idea that you actually were doing it, okay? So, you guys did great. You did everything you were supposed to do.
And of course,
But it still matters that you tried.
yes.
See, that's the thing, you tried. And you got through it, and none of you had a heart attack.
No,
So,
none of us dropped dead.
actually, you guys answered just the way I was hoping. The listening is the most important part. And obviously, you don't feel like you're listening to if the other person is giving you signals that they don't want to hear what you have to say. So both sides are working very well together. So I want to thank you guys. This has been a real blast. And I will leave you now, so you can talk about me.
Now, we don't talk about people behind their back.
No. I offered to do one. I offered to do one more training for you guys. And you guys get to decide what you want. But one of the things I will throw out there is I could do a mean training on how to disagree respectfully. Because conflict is as much part of life as breathing.
Yeah.
It really is. And, you know, learning how to handle a conflict situation, whether it's at home or at work or with your partner, it's huge. And so I'll throw that out as one idea, but I really will be open. Cindy will give me at least a month's notice if you guys decide you want me back. Oh, that's the other thing. This is optional, but I did say I would do it. I really hope you had a good time, besides hopefully learning a little something. And just let me know, okay? Huh?
Thank you very much, Pam.
Very good, Cindy has all the